Welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today we're going to be doing another one of my popular new and upcoming 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray releases reviews videos. And this is one of those that's kind of got a long title, but I dive into tons of upcoming or new releases on 4K and Blu-ray and do reviews on them. Titles that a lot of the times don't get touched on or talked about that I go into in this video series and review all of them. Now in today's exciting video, we're going to be reviewing titles from Shout and Scream Factory, Arrow Video, Paramount Studios, CBS Home Entertainment, Sony, Mill Creek, Warner Brothers, Kino, Lorber, and Universal. So we've got a ton of different studios titles to dive into here, and there's some pretty exciting releases in today's video. Now, if you haven't checked out any of my previous videos in this series, I've done dozens of these before where I dive into, like I said, tons of these titles and give reviews on them. So you want to check out some of those videos in this video series after you get done watching this video. And there's all sorts of titles from every genre in this video series. So it is one of those that you'll always find something that fits what you're looking for inside this video series. First title up is Skyline from 2010. And this is the brand new Scream Factory, Shout Factory 4K Ultra HD release. And I did get this in a little bit before the release date, but it's kind of one of those titles that I didn't have time to work on before the release date, so it's being included in this video. It's one of those movies, though, that I will tell you is not going to blow you away if you've never seen the film itself as the best sci-fi alien invasion film ever. But it is kind of a fun Saturday afternoon, sit back, have a drink, have a good time, and don't expect too much from the acting, the script, though there are some cool special effects in it that were done on a very small budget that are kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of one of those Sci-Fi Channel type movies, if you remember those back in the 2000s, 90s, things like that. Sci-Fi Channel had a lot of those. That's what this resembles to me. And it's an enjoyable film, though not perfect by any shape or form. Now, for this 4K release, Shout Factory and Scream Factory did share that this is a new 4K master with Dolby Vision and HDR10 on it. I can tell you the Dolby Vision was the one that I enjoyed. The HDR10 was fine, it did look good, but there was just a little bit better color tones on the Dolby Vision over the HDR10. So I did enjoy the Dolby Vision presentation just slightly more than that HDR10 was. Overall, for this new 4K master though, they did on this, it's not going to blow you away as the most detailed and depth in the image that you've ever seen in a 4K, because there's only so much detail they can get when they upscale and then obviously do a new 4K master from the upscaled source, which is where this is limited. It does look the best I've seen this film ever look, because the previous Blu-ray that I own, it looked fine. It just was never, like I said, it's never one of those reference quality releases that you really sat back and said, man, this looks like it was spent, you know, $100 million on the budget on this. It wasn't. It's a very, very small budget. It's amazing what they were able to do on such a small budget. And that's where I said, it's kind of one of those higher end or higher class Sci-Fi Channel movies is how I look at this one. It's definitely one of those nicer end B movies. And I enjoy the story of the invasion, how it's done more from the perspective of a couple of friends and kind of trying to survive, running through the different apartment complexes and buildings. And so it is kind of just one of those you sit back, cheesy kind of action sci-fi movies. Now, for this release, we do get an English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and 2.0 mix on this. Both of those sounded good, though I can't really say either one of them was an amazing leap over the previous Blu-ray in that sense. The biggest upgrade you're getting is visual quality. It does look the best it possibly can, just limited by its original source. Now, for this release, you do also get English subtitles. Now, I did dive into this and do the rough average bitrate on this, and it was a very surprisingly high and shockingly strong 89 megabits per second. I was very surprised at the rough average bitrate on this, that it was that high and strong throughout it. I'm kind of surprised that honestly that there isn't other films on 4K before this one got released. There's so many films. I know I've talked a lot recently about The Phantom. I really, really want Paramount to do a 4K restoration on 4K Ultra HD of The Phantom with Billy Zane from the 90s. Love that film. It's such a good comic book, just great film. And The Shadow, I'd love that one. To be honest, I think those deserved 4Ks before Skyline did, but there's still a niche market for Skyline of folks that do enjoy the film, and there's a lot of us that collect, like myself, that It's nice to have any of these 4K releases just to be able to own them in a better quality, though temper your expectations with this one because like I said, there's only so much that's able to be presented in this. And this did have some very brief digital noise and blocking in it that's present. It's brief, it's not throughout the entire thing, but it is there. So keep that in mind where I was talking about tempering your expectations. Now getting to my review score for Skyline on 4K Ultra HD. This gets a good 8.4. Like I said, it's not gonna blow you away or knock your socks off. It's just a good 4K, not amazing. But if you're looking to add these 4Ks to your collection, if you like collecting all of them, this is one that you'll enjoy. It's still an upgrade in image quality, especially with the Dolby Vision if you have that. It definitely looks better in those senses, especially with the aliens' blue color coming down out of their ships when they're abducting people. That blue is extremely gorgeous looking and vibrant on the Dolby Vision on this. Whereas on the previous Blu-ray it looked good, but nowhere near with the highlights and the very, very nice colors that come from this new 4K release. Now, if you're wanting to buy any of these releases I review in this video series, as always, I've taken all of the time and work to gather all of those together for all of you. And I put all of those direct links in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. Those take you straight out to Amazon. They never cost you even a penny extra when you click on those links, and it's on sale for the same prices everywhere through those links. But they do help to support the creation of videos just like this, just a tiny bit. So make sure if you're gonna buy any of these releases that I review in these video series, to always go down to the links that I pinned down in the description section and as a comment in the comment section below. Showing you what this briefly looks like, it has the cover here, says it on the side. Back here it talks about it, all the new special features. I will mention that the new 4K master is also on the Blu-ray disc in this, so it is not the same Blu-ray disc as was released before. So the Blu-ray disc on this does look quite a bit better than the previous Blu-ray that was released by Universal before as well. So that's a nice positive that they didn't cheap out on that we got that as well. Inside here, this is your new Blu-ray disc. It is locked to region A. Your 4K is region free, so those of you that want to import this through that link I've posted below, keep in mind, region A locked, region free for your 4K. 4K is where it's at though. This definitely had the best looking presentation of all of them. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down and give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you never miss out on any of my exclusive or early video content that you're only ever gonna find to watch here on my YouTube channel. So make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Next up, we have a personal favorite of mine, the Assassination Bureau from 1968. And it has Diana Rigg in it, and she's from the original Avengers TV series. I always enjoyed her as an actress, but this is one of those films that's kind of like a, I don't know if I call it so much a mystery, but it's basically about assassins and playing off the comedy of assassins throughout time and them being sent on missions and how they fail. And that's how kind of like the intro of the film starts off, showing failed assassinations. And it's done in a very light-hearted and comedic tone, but I really enjoy the film. It's one of those that was released at the wrong time and was misunderstood and has grown a massive cult status over the last many years. And it's still one of those films I enjoy watching over and over again. Though I will tell you it's had a varied history on home video and has not had a great release history. There's been a lot of poor transfers and poor releases on DVD and even some poor releases on Blu-ray. Well, Arrow Video worked with the original master that Paramount Studios provided to them and did brand new restoration work done specifically by Arrow Video for this Blu-ray release. So they basically took what Paramount already had as the HD master and then went to work on that to restore it as best they could for this release. And I can tell you, this is the ultimate way to own the Assassination Bureau on any release I've seen so far yet. All of the previous Blu-ray releases do not compare to this release. It looks the best I've seen it yet. Film grain was present throughout it, you could see it nicely. I can tell you though, there was some digital noise still present, as was present on some of the previous Blu-ray releases before this because they're working with that Paramount HD master, though they were less noticeable on this than any of the previous Blu-rays before. And it really is a nice job that Arrow Video did with this one. And I can tell you this is the reversible cover artwork. So if you're wondering why it's different than the cover I'm showing above, it's because I'm showing you the one that comes when you buy it, and I've reversed it to show you what it looks like. You get two different cover options, which I like that little touch when Arrow Video does that, though there is no slip cover that is included in this. Now, this is the special edition release, which means there's some goodies inside here that I'm going to show you here in just a second. But you do get these two different cover artworks. I like this cover artwork the best, but you can choose whichever one you want and reverse it. That's up to you. Now, something else that's really nice that Arrow Video did for this release is they included a restored original lossless English mono audio track. And I can tell you the audio sounds the best on this release over all the previous releases as well. There's always been some issues with it, with the tone and it going in and out and different things due to how the film was stored and when it was released originally. And because it wasn't a huge hit back then, it wasn't taken care of perfectly or super well either. Well, they did a good job with that lossless mix on this, and it sounds the best and most stable that I've heard this film ever sound on home video. Now, showing you real quick what you get in this. This is your cover here. On the side it says the Assassination Bureau, Paramount Studios, and Arrow Video. The back it talks about this is a special edition, talks about some of the things that they did for this restoration. And then when you get inside here, you do get, because it's a special edition, art cards. So you get a bunch of art cards that you can look through. And then you get this nice little booklet, which I always really enjoy these booklets in here. In this booklet, it goes through talking about the film, about the restoration, about what was unique about the film when it was released, and pictures and photos from it. And it's a nice glossy actual booklet, and I did enjoy this one. I do think Arrow Video does a good job with these little booklets. So this is kind of why it's a special edition release. Once it gets past a certain time, they don't include basically a lot of the times these booklets or the basically cards that I was showing you. It just comes with the disc. So in the first pressings of so many, that's how Arrow Video has done it, is you get these booklets and cards with them. So if it's something you're looking at getting, don't wait too long to order it. And this is the best I've ever seen the Assassination Bureau look on home video. This Blu-ray release comes highly recommended if you're wanting to order this and add this to your collection. I've included that direct link in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. Next up, we have StationEleven, and this is the 2021 TV miniseries released for the first time ever on 4K Ultra HD. And I can tell you this is another personal favorite of mine as far as the TV series goes. It is one of those that was released originally on HBO, HBO Max, whatever they're calling it now after its 50th rename, but anyhow, it was released on there as a miniseries. So the whole thing is contained inside this 4K Ultra HD release. There's not multiple other seasons. The beginning and the end of the entire series is all contained, and I really enjoy that because it's kind of like an extended movie series where you get to watch it and enjoy the whole thing, get into the characters, and then it ends. You don't have to worry about there being future seasons because the whole story is very nicely wrapped up and contained inside this set itself. Now, for this 4K Ultra HD release, this does get Dolby Vision and HDR10. Both of them were very nice on this release, and I can tell you, having seen this originally on streaming, this was one of those rare ones that I saw on streaming that I had an easy comparison because I already had seen it. This does look quite a bit better than it did when it was on streaming and digital services. The streaming and digital services had some issues with compression, and it did not have as stable of an image, nor did it have nearly as much detail that is present on this 4K Ultra HD release. The depth and detail that is present in this is very, very impressive. You can tell from the second you load it up and you go into watching this all the way through to the end, the details that are present on this blow away any of the digital streaming services that this was on to begin with, and is a very, very healthy improvement in image and sound. The sound on this had much better LFE and range that was lacking on all of the streaming service and digital versions of StationEleven. This is one of those series, if you have not checked it out yet, it's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi end-of-the-world drama mystery. It really is one of those things that takes different timelines, different characters, and you're following different things and how they all piece together throughout the series. It is extremely well written and extremely well acted. It has some great musical scores in this, and it has some beautiful cinematography that really is displayed well on this 4K release. You're really taken aback sometimes when you're sitting there and you're watching this series on 4K because I love that we're getting more and more of these TV series released on 4K, and this was one of those that I was thrilled when they announced it, though I was worried it was going to be over-compressed and held back by them trying to shove too much content onto a disc. Thankfully, they did not at all. And I'll show you what you mean in here. So, you have your 4K discs here, and on average, most of them have 3 episodes. This one here does have 4, but then the rest of them are all 3 and 3, and none of them were over-compressed. I didn't have any issues other than some slight digital noise and artifacting. Very slight on some of the episodes, but it was mostly noticeable just on the first disc. The rest of these, I didn't have any issues with them at all. And we're talking slight when I'm being nitpicky here. It is slight. The presentation on this was so nice that even those slight digital noise and artifacting that I'm complaining about still blew away anything that I saw when it was on the streaming or digital services. It was such a great upgrade on this that it really did shock and surprise me, because I did not expect much from this, because this was a huge under the radar 4K release. Now for this release, we do get an English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 audio mix. As I explained, the range and the LFE on this blew away the previous streaming version. You do get English subtitles on this release as well. Total runtime for the entire series is around 520 minutes. So when you think of that for the price wise of what this was released, around the $20 price range, the fact that you get the entire series in this, a whole 520 minutes of watch time to watch in this great 4K release, and I'm excited for Paramount and CBS Home Entertainment to continue releasing 4K Ultra HD TV series. This is another great TV series on 4K. I previously reviewed their Halo TV series. That was sent to me from CBS Home Entertainment about 2 to 3 weeks before the release date when I did that review. And even though the TV series wasn't the best sci-fi series of all time, I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best of all time. That was a great 4K Ultra HD reference quality 4K Ultra HD release. If you haven't checked out that review, you're going to want to go check out that here on this YouTube channel. I also recently reviewed the Jack Ryan series released on 4K Ultra HD. If you haven't checked out that review, you'll want to go check out that one as well. Released by the same studio. Again, they're releasing more and more of these 4K releases of TV series. That Jack Ryan one was another great 4K release. But for this TV series, if you want something that's a great sci-fi saga drama that has great writing and character in it, you'll sit back and really get into the different stories that goes through all these different timelines, tying them together, piecing together this puzzle as you go along of how all of this happened, what happened to people, how some of their stories are connected and intertwined. It's done absolutely beautifully. There are some beautiful things in this. And this series does a good job harkening back and giving you the feeling of a lot of the things a lot of us went through the last several years when things were shut down and we went through all of those diseases and things. It was talking about in here how sometimes you almost enjoyed the time you spent with your family more. And it really is kind of a family character drama that makes you think. And it's one of those experiences that I do think a lot of people missed out on, and it is a great series. Getting to my review score for StationEleven on 4K Ultra HD, this gets a highly recommended 9.0. This is one that's a must buy. You're going to want to buy this, add this to your collection, and watch this over and over again. You'll appreciate, just like it says on here, certified fresh. This really is one of those releases that was really underrated. A lot of people missed out on watching. Now that it's on 4K, don't miss out on this. Support this release. You get to see how good this really looks on 4K Ultra HD, and this is the best way to watch and listen to this ever on home video. This comes highly recommended as a must buy. Remember, if you want to buy any of these, I've included that exclusive Amazon link in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. A lot of these 4Ks that are being printed like this, these are specific a lot of the times Amazon exclusive links. So I include those directly down there below as well. But this is one, if you're gonna buy this and add this to your collection, let me know in the comment section below. I'm excited to find out what of these a lot of you have seen, what of these you haven't seen. If you didn't even know about this TV series, let me know in the comment section below. I always love to hear from all of you. Next up, we have Envy with Jack Black and Ben Stiller. This is one of those black comedies, and it truly is about envy or envy of your neighbor. Basically, the story is pretty simple. It doesn't have too much depth in that side, but Jack Black comes up with this idea of how to make a spray that makes dog poo disappear. And I'm not trying to be gross here, but that's the story of it. Where basically you have a spray that you carry with you when you take your dog for a walk, you spray it on it and poof, it disappears. And he comes up with the idea and asks his neighbor, who's Ben Stiller in this, who I think they're both great in this. It's really an underrated and unseen comedy that a lot of people have never experienced. And it is a black comedy, so it's a lot of that comedy where they kind of sit there and you have to like watch it a couple of times and it just keeps growing on you. I love the film, really, really adore it. But it's one of those things that he asks his neighbor, hey, you want to invest in this with me, get a part of this? And Ben Stiller thinks he's ridiculous, kind of like the look of his face here on the front cover. He's really like, no, like you're an idiot. Anyhow, Jack Black becomes a millionaire, and it's how he basically is envious of all the things that Jack Black goes through. But Jack Black is a really nice guy, and he's still like trying to help his neighbor anyways, and it's done comedically throughout it, how there's like rivalry between them, but Jack Black's still trying to be nice to Ben Stiller, but Ben Stiller hates him, and there's such a great supporting cast in this. I'll tell you, a lot of people didn't know how many good actors were in this either. So you've got Amy Poehler, Rachel Weisz, Christopher Walken, and that's to name on top of who's already in it. And there's other characters that show up that you'll recognize throughout it. Barry Levinson directed this film, and if you know anything about his comedies, he does a very good job with a lot of these like black comedies. I always really enjoyed this film. I was very excited when Shout Factory announced they were finally releasing it on Blu-ray. This was originally a Paramount Studio and DreamWorks Entertainment release. Kind of surprised Paramount Studios didn't release this themselves, but at least we got it. It's a good looking transfer. I'm not going to say it's perfect though. There was some slight digital noise throughout it, and there is some softer scenes throughout it that it just seems like could have used a little additional work. But overall, again, it is a Blu-ray release that I just was surprised we got it all, because it's never been released on Blu-ray until this time with this brand new Blu-ray release. So I'm thankful we at least got it. It's the best I've ever seen Envy look though, especially on HD, because it hasn't been in HD. It's been in SD for so long, and the SD on DVD just looks so darn poor that this blows that out of the water. And this is one of those that did get a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 English mix. I can tell you it blew away the DVD audio mix on that. This did have much more life, much more range, and sounded a whole lot better than the DVD audio mix as well. So that's a nice improvement. So with the audio and the image upgrades, it looks good. And I recommend this release if you like black comedies, kind of more serious comedies, if you know what I mean. There's lots of hidden things that the more you watch it, the funnier it gets. I really enjoy those types of comedies because it's something I come back to year after year to watch over and over again. But inside here, you do get a nice reversible artwork that has the family on it. And then obviously it has the disc on here. It does have DreamWorks, Castle Rock, Paramount, Columbia Pictures, and Shout Factory's logos on it. And it is one of these that is Region A locked though. So keep that in mind if you are wanting to import this through the link I've posted down below. It's Region A locked. Next up, we have Dawson's Creek on Blu-ray for the first time ever worldwide. And this is from Mill Creek and Sony Entertainment. And a big shout out to them for sending this to me for review. I did announce this here a while back that I got it in for review. As always, I took my time and due diligence in watching all of it and testing all of it out before I gave you my review or review score for this. As most of you know with TV series, I like to make sure that I actually watch the whole thing before I give you a review score of saying, hey, I watched 3 episodes. It's just not how I do it. I know there's a lot of people out there that they get them in and, hey, I watched an episode or 2, get a review up real quick, and that's it. It's not how I do things, as most of you know that have watched my channel for many years now. So after diving into this, I got a lot of things to talk about. So this is the complete series on Blu-ray. As far as this one goes, it's all 6 seasons, so season 1 through season 6. The show originally ran from 1998 to 2003. It's a drama, romance, slight comedy, teen through young adult series that in the 90s I did watch some of it. I missed some of the middle of the series and kind of picked up the end of it towards the end of it. And it's kind of one of those that has a mixed bag for me. Back when I watched it originally, it's very heavy melodrama and drama, lots of crying in the first couple of seasons. And going back and watching it again, I'd say the first couple of seasons are my least liked of the series. The later seasons, they dive more into comedy and more family drama, and there's just more lighthearted and enjoyable episodes with better writing and better acting. I do kind of feel like the first couple of seasons they were growing into their roles, and I do think there is some poor acting that doesn't hold up as well nowadays as I remembered it back then, but the later seasons are worth it. So in that sense, I did enjoy the later seasons. My wife does enjoy it as well, and she enjoyed the later seasons as well. The first couple of seasons she didn't enjoy as much as she remembered them. But that's kind of how things go sometimes. Our memories are different than when we rewatch it again. But the later seasons are something, as far as the show goes, that I do enjoy. Just remember those first couple of seasons. I'd probably say the first 2.5 to 3 seasons for us were the hardest to get through. Now, in this box set, you get a massive 5,600 minutes runtime for the series. You get a massive amount of runtime to watch and view in this series, though there is limitations, and that's where we're going to get into the negatives here. So this is released on 20 Blu-ray discs. As you can see here, it has basically on your first box set here, it says discs 1 through 10. Second one is discs 11 through 20. And I'll show you those here in just a second. But the reason it's important to understand about those 20 discs, remember how I said the runtime on this was 5,600 minutes? To get that to fit all on 20 Blu-ray discs, they had to do some finagling. And I can tell you the finagling is what damaged the image presentation that's present on these. This is where I find it a hard thing with what I do. You know, I do this professionally, I've done this for many years. And this is not a high-paying job. It's very, very minimal what I get from doing this. And it is one of those things, though, that I'm always upfront and honest with all of you. I can't tell you this is an amazing release because that would just be dishonest. This release, the image has so many issues as you go through it. They overcompressed the image drastically. They tried to shove too many episodes, way too many episodes, onto each and every disc in this box set, which then degrades the image drastically. There's blocking, there's banding, there's artifacting, really bad artifacting, digital noise. You notice that throughout any scenes. I mean, there's really, I would say maybe a handful of scenes each episode that might look semi-good, and I'll say, hey, it looks pretty decent. Very next scene, it looks so bad because of the digital noise and blocking, because of the compression as well that you see through it, and that compression causes the blocking to look even worse. And it really is one of those throughout the entire thing. It does look better, and here's where I've got to be specific, because I don't want to say it's the worst thing ever, because it's not, and I'll explain when I get to my review score here, but it does have a lot of issues that just aren't being talked about by reviewers, and it's a sad thing that I've noticed, because it seems like they'll watch an episode or two and say, hey, it looks good, go ahead and buy it. But that's doing a disservice to the viewers like you, which is how I've always felt. That's why I take my time to actually watch the whole thing before I give a review. Because otherwise I'm just telling you I saw a couple episodes, hey, go ahead and buy this because I want you to buy it. That doesn't help anything. To me, that just, you lose your credibility, which I think is what's happening. There's a lot of reviewers out there that are losing credibility because they're saying these are amazing releases to go buy when they are simply not. And when you get it and you watch it and you say to yourself, man, it's just, yeah, it looks better than the DVDs, but I'll give you an exact example. This box set image quality wise is only between 25 to 30% better looking than all of the previous DVD releases of Dawson's Creek. So that's the upgrade you're getting. You're not getting a 50%, 60%, 70%, and I'm telling you that 30% upgrade is about the highest it gets to in this box set. There's other issues as well. The audio mix on this is an English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix. And it does sound good, but that's not the problem. The problem is the audio mix has massive fluctuations. So what happens is you'll be watching an episode and it'll get to like the main theme song, which I will tell you the main theme song is the re-recorded main theme song. So it does sound like the original, there's just some slight differences. It's recorded by the original artist, so you do get that included. And there is some of the original music in this. But whenever you get to the music in this, because a lot of it was changed or added back in with slightly alterations, so it's not exactly the same, the music is way louder. So what'll happen is you'll be watching them talk and you'll be listening at night. You know, my wife and I were watching this at night a lot of the time. You know how you keep your TV at a level volume and you're just kind of relaxing watching the show. All of a sudden it'll get to the song that's in that episode, whether it's the theme song at the beginning, title intro, or a song during the episode that they've changed out, and it's quite loud. Like we're talking 4 notches louder than the rest of the series was when they're talking. And it does this up and down and up and down and up and down. Every episode in every single disc on this entire series has that issue. The up and down, quiet, loud, quiet, loud, quiet, loud. I'll be honest with you, it gets old. I mean, it irritated me after a while. Now, It's not necessarily Mill Creek's fault for that, because my understanding is that's always kind of been an issue with how Sony did it when they re-released them on DVDs and then were trying to get them ready for an HD, because they changed out a lot of the music and tried to replace it with either ones that sounded similar, or some of the times the artist would re-record a song and then they put that back into it. And the issues with that is it's a different sound, it's a different level that's on it than what the actual episode, what they were talking at, and they didn't do a good job, Sony didn't, of making sure those levels weren't off drastically, and they are really off. And it's very noticeable, and at night it's very hard watching it because it's very like jolting. You forget all of a sudden that the song's gonna come on, it's blaringly loud, and all of a sudden you're like pushing the button down to get it quiet because you don't want to wake up the kids next door or whatever the case is. And that's one of those things that for me, it's just not relaxing, and so I thought I'd point that out. But the audio does sound clear. It just has a lot of audio fluctuations that make it, to me, not as enjoyable. Now, I'm gonna show you what's in this box set so you can see what I'm talking about, what they did with these discs. So when you open this up, you get all your discs right here, which I did like the disc artwork they did. I did like the main menu. Heck, when you load up the main menu looks pretty darn good on these. And I thought, man, that HD master is gonna be amazing. Sadly, all of those issues start popping up as you start watching it. And you'll start noticing, especially if you look at anything that's at night, man, the night scenes look horrible. I mean, literally, it's flashing on your screen and you got blocking and banding. Though again, still looks better than the DVDs, but again, like I said, you're looking about 25% better looking than the DVD. So we're not talking massive amounts here. But the reason why is if you look at these, you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full episodes on one Blu-ray disc. That is way too much for a Blu-ray disc to have without over-compressing that disc. And that takes away colors, it takes away detail in the image, it causes compression issues where it has blocking, and that's present throughout the entire series. It does not matter how far you go through it, all the episodes have it on there. And some of the seasons you get to later on, like here on disc 10, this only had 6 episodes on the disc. Still way too many for the disc itself, but it does look slightly better on discs that they did this because they didn't compress it as badly as the ones that have like 7 episodes a disc. Those look the worst, and a lot of them do have 7 episodes a disc. The 6 ones look slightly better, but again, you still have some of those issues because Mill Creek really should have only put 4 episodes per Blu-ray disc and spread it out to make sure that the image was not compressed down and did not lose so much detail and have issues with all of those things that I was mentioning. So that's where I said, as always, I watched the entire thing to give you an accurate and honest review. But I do enjoy that this was released, and this is where I said it's hard for me because it was a slight upgrade over the DVD. So I appreciate that it was released at least on Blu-ray, so that way I could get rid of all my DVDs. And I do like the box set. I do like that it comes all in this. It has some nice artwork on it. It does have some special features that are new on it, like the Entertainment Weekly's 20th anniversary reunion, new interviews with crew and featurettes. And I do like that. There's some new stuff in here and special features to enjoy. So there's some positives on this that Mill Creek did that I did appreciate. I just wish, and if you checked out like my previous I Dream of Jeannie review from Mill Creek, I talked about that. They don't need to overcompress this. Just put more discs on it. What does it cost them? A couple extra pennies to get a couple extra discs? Put only 4 episodes at max per disc. You would have such a great Blu-ray release that looked amazing on HD because the source material is there. They just compressed it down, which then damages that image, and what we see gets compressed, which causes all those different digital issues. When you watch it, you'll notice them heavily. The more you watch it, the more you notice it. And it could have looked amazing, but for this release, for my review score of Dawson's Creek on Blu-ray the complete series, this gets a 6.0. That's the best it can get. I desperately wanted this to be better than that. I was hoping it was going to be a 7, an 8, at least image quality and sound quality. But all those things I talked about, I'm always going to be honest with you. It's a 6. If you like Dawson's Creek, if you want to own it for the first time, buy it on this. If you have the previous DVDs, you got to decide. Is that percentage of an upgrade worthwhile for this much? If you've noticed those audio issues before, you're going to have those same things there. They didn't change that. You're not getting tons more extra music that I could tell. The music seemed similar with some of them switched out, some of them the same. So it's kind of a mixed bag there. But I was expecting and hoping for so much more. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Next up we have All-Star Superman from 2011. This is the animated film by DC. And it is one of those that I really enjoyed the comic book. I think they did a good job bringing it to an animated film. And I own the previous Blu-ray release and I've always enjoyed it, though I was excited when this was announced that it was coming out on 4K. Though it's a slightly mixed bag because this is an upscaled 4K from a 2K source. So it is one of those things that's limited because it's a digital animation title that then they added HDR10 to, which you do notice that the HDR10 brings much more life with varying shades of color because of the wider color gamut. And it does look better, especially for an animated film, but it's not like, you know, recently I reviewed the Prince of Egypt 4K Ultra HD release. If you haven't checked out that review, I got that one in about 2 weeks before the release date from DreamWorks and Universal Studios. I did that review way before the release date. That one was slightly a different thing because they were able to go back and scan the original camera negatives to create that. This is different because it's not the same type of thing. This is a 2K that's being upscaled. There is no original camera negatives they're working from this, so there's only so much detail that even exists in those digital files that they're using to create this. Yes, the HDR10 enhances it. For an animated film, it drastically gives more life to that animation, the colors as far as that goes. But depth and detail, that one's hard, and you'll understand here when I get to my review score, but it's just not amazing. It's good, not amazing. And this does get the same audio mix, which is a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 English, and you do get English subtitles. I like the slipcover they give. I really like these metallic first printing slipcovers that Warner Brothers is doing for their 100th anniversary. It says All-Star Superman on the side, and you do get a digital Movies Anywhere digital code minus the special features. You do get all your special features that were released before, because you do get your Blu-ray disc that was released before as well. And then you do get 2 new special features for the 4K disc for this set. So it is nice that they at least gave some extra special features for that. Though I will say whoever did the artwork for this, they misprinted all the words. There's a bunch of words on the side here of this actual slipcover that are missing, and it's, I don't know, the words don't make sense because they're missing certain parts of the words and letters. But that's me just being nitpicky. I guess they didn't have very good quality control on whoever did the slipcovers and the actual artwork for this release. Now, when you get inside here, this is your original Blu-ray release with all your original special features. This is your brand new 4K Ultra HD release, which is region-free with the new special features. It does look better than the Blu-ray. I'm happy with it because I'm a huge Superman fan. I absolutely love Superman, so even the little upgrade over the previous Blu-ray, as a collector myself, I was happy to get this on 4K. Now, getting to my review score for All-Star Superman on 4K Ultra HD. This gets a good 8.0. It's just not, like I said, amazing. It's just good. It's one of those that if you've never owned the film before, buy it on 4K. You're definitely going to enjoy the HDR10 on this. With the animation, the colors really pop and really look good. And it's one of those that I'm glad to have in my collection, but if you're limited money-wise on what you want to buy or upgrade with, then maybe there's other titles that you should look at upgrading that I've reviewed before that are something that maybe you should spend your money on first. It depends on how big of a Superman fan you are. I mean, for me, everything Superman I buy, it's just one of those things. But as a reviewer, I always take my fandom out of these things. That's why no matter how much I love Superman as a character, you know, I recently reviewed the Superman Complete series, and that was about 3 weeks before the release date. Actually, it doesn't even come out yet for like another week. But I did that 3 weeks early, and I got that in way early for review and did my exclusive 4K versus Blu-ray image comparisons. And as I talked about in that, I'm always going to be upfront and honest with all of you, but there are issues that Warner Brothers has had on some of their releases. They are slightly things that we find we kind of be nitpicky about. This is one of those that Warner Brothers necessarily didn't do wrong other than the printing on the back of the slipcover, but the release, there's just only so much detail present. So that's where it gets an 8. Next up, we have Terminal Invasion from 2002. And this is a Bruce Campbell sci-fi mystery / horror movie. And it's got varying tones throughout it. I actually kind of think there's actually some dark humor in it and things like that. If you like Bruce Campbell, this is one of those films, I kind of relegate it to more or less kind of like a sci-fi channel B-movie sci-fi movie. If you've seen like Deep Star 6, the director of Deep Star 6 directed this as well. It's good and enjoyable, and it's one of those that I like having in my collection, and big shout out to Kino Lorber for sending it for a review. But it's one of those you have to determine, are you into B-movie, sci-fi movies that it's got some slight cheesy corniness in it, but you sit back, you have a good time watching it, which is what I'm looking for. Am I going to have a fun time watching it, or am I going to be sitting there staring off the ceiling kind of like, come on, is this thing ever going to end? I don't do that with this film. I sit there, I enjoy the film. I like Bruce Campbell in it. I think he's a good actor, and I like him for his acting style. If you don't like Bruce Campbell's acting style, you're not going to like this film. I mean, that's just being honest. Bruce Campbell has a certain flair to him, and he always brings that to every one of his films. I've always enjoyed this film. It's released on Blu-ray by Kino Lorber in a great release. And this slipcover is first printings only. Kino Lorber only does these in the first pressing. So remember, if you're wanting to buy this, don't wait too long because these Kino Lorber slipcovers do sell out. On the back here, it does talk about it's got an audio commentary with the director and executive producer, alien test costumes. It is rated R, strong violence, language, and it's a very fast-paced film. It runs 84 minutes, and it's one of those sci-fi mystery thriller films where you're trying to figure out who of the passengers, because basically plane gets grounded and they're sitting in the airport and Bruce Campbell gets escorted in by guards. He's basically a prisoner, and the plane's grounded because of a blizzard, and they're trying to figure out basically what's going on because some of the passengers aren't who they seem to be, and it's kind of like they're taken over or there's something different, and it's a mystery, thriller, sci-fi all mixed together. It's done well. It's a very enjoyable, for me at least. I enjoy those types of sci-fi. Like I said, kind of B-movie sci-fi. They're not, can't take it all too seriously, and I enjoy it. This presentation from Kino Lorber looks very good. I have never seen the film look this good. I'm kind of amazed it looks this good on Blu-ray in the first place. I'll show you what you get. You get this slipcover here, which again, first pressings only. And then when you get inside here, this is your Blu-ray disc. Your Blu-ray disc is Region A locked. So keep in mind, if you're wanting to import this to outside of Region A, you will need a region for your multi-region player. But huge shout out to Kino Lorber for releasing films like this that I just really didn't think we were gonna get on Blu-ray. Hugely excited that this was finally released. This is the best way to experience this film. If you've ever seen it or you just want something to check out, I posted that link down there below. I recommend the film because it is one I enjoy. It's not the best film you're ever going to watch, but it's a fun time, and I really think Bruce Campbell is great in this. Next up, we have the 1986 Heat with Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds has a really great mustache, and just to let you know, I grew up watching all his films, and Burt Reynolds, that mustache of his was incredible. You look at how thick that thing is, you watch it in the movie, man, he always had a great mustache. Anyhow, not meaning to deteriorate on his mustache here. This is one of those films that, I don't know, for me, I enjoyed Burt Reynolds in it, but I did feel like some scenes went on a little bit longer, and then it would come back to being really intense and really enjoyable, and then some scenes would be a little bit longer, and then back to really intense and some good action and things like that. It's a kind of one of those films I just can't say that I absolutely love altogether, but there is a huge crowd of people out there that love this film. And as I said, it's great if you love the film. I'm just telling you my opinions on it and feelings, because every one of us has different memories or feelings behind every film we watch. And that's great, and that's why I love being a movie collector and movie fan. I mean, as a cinephile, there's reasons I'll love a film that maybe somebody says is a dead dog and is a horrible film, and then somebody else will watch a film and say, hey, I love that film, and I'll say, oh, I really didn't like that at all. But that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that, because as movie lovers, that's the fun thing. We can all enjoy and love whatever films we want. This is one of those that I would just say is a good film. It's not amazing, it's not one that I absolutely had to own or loved, but it's a good film. And it comes with this limited edition slipcover. Again, same thing, it's limited edition pressing. Basically, Burt Reynolds' character, he's kind of like a mercenary type, I don't know if I'd call him a hitman, but basically his friend gets beat up by some mafia gangsters and almost dies, and then basically he then goes on this like vigilante like mission, and that's what the movie's about. And it's not too over the top, though it is rated R. It's a film that came out in 1986. It does come with audio commentaries, alternate endings, and theatrical trailer on it, so you do get some nice little included things on it. Next up, we have Flashdance from 1983. Now, for this 4K release, it has been released on Blu-ray numerous times over the last several years by Paramount. So I kind of skipped those. I'll be honest with you, I did not buy the Paramount Presents ones for a reason. I knew this was coming out on 4K Ultra HD, so I waited knowing it was coming out, and got it on 4K. This is one of those films that has a soft spot in my heart because I love the music in it. It's one of those classic 1980 films. Obviously 1983 is when it came out. And it's kind of one of those Cinderella stories coming from nothing, and she dances her way to the top. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but a lot of movies from 1980s had cheesy charm to them. This is one of those. It is a very, very enjoyable sit back, have a fun time if you were raised in the 80s, grew up in the 80s, or love the 80s. This is one of those must-own 80s films. This 4K Ultra HD release, though, is a native 4K 2160p, and it does get Dolby Vision and HDR10. They both look very good on it. I did not notice much of a variance between either of them. I enjoyed both presentations on HDR10 and Dolby Vision, and it does blow away the previous releases. This does look drastically better, has more stable film grain throughout it, though I will reference this film was filmed numerous scenes throughout it, intentionally soft with filters and lenses, and it's pretty present through a lot of the film. They wanted to give it more of a dreamlike, romanticized look to the film intentionally. Now, this 4K release specifically for the 40th anniversary on 4K Ultra HD had a new 4K restoration created from the original 35mm camera negatives, supervised by the original director, Adrian Lyne. So the nice thing is they actually did a bunch of work for this 4K release that was supervised by the original director to present this in the original vision that he had, which I always appreciate when they do that to make sure this is the correct way it's supposed to look. I do think it looks very good. The HDR10 has a very nice presentation with the Dolby Vision as well, the lights to darks, especially like the neon colors of the bar and the clubs they go to, those neon lights that are on there shine through beautifully well on this release, and I really did think it looked the best I've seen it yet. And it is an adult fairy tale. It is rated R. It does have brief sexual content, some language, so keep in mind it is one of those types of adult fairy tales. But the image behind this is the best I've ever seen it. The film grain looks good throughout it. It's very filmic looking. And this does get English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 audio mix. Sounds good. I can't say that it's a blow away audio mix over the previous Blu-rays. I really felt like the audio mix sounded very similar to the previous Blu-ray releases. So the biggest thing you're getting upgrade wise is the image presentation in this. And that is where I think this does have a nice level of detail and increase in depth in the image that was not nearly as present on any of the previous Blu-ray releases. Now, getting to my review score. For Flashdance on 4K Ultra HD, this gets a very good 8.8. It's not going to blow you away as the best release you've ever seen, but an 8.8 is a very good review score. This is a must-buy. On 4K, if you own the previous Blu-ray releases, I still think you're going to be appreciative of the increase in depth, details, colors. All of that looks the best I've ever seen Flashdance on home video on this release. Even compared to the previous Paramount Presents release, which had some odd coloring on it, I didn't notice any of those odd colorings as much on this. They just had a more stable image and coloring throughout it that just looked better altogether. So I really feel like Paramount did a much better job on this 4K release than they did on the previous Blu-ray releases of Flashdance. And if you take the Blu-ray that's included in this and compare it to the 4K that's in here, you'll notice it is a healthy improvement even compared to the Blu-ray that's included in this set. So that's where I always kind of think it's interesting when you take the Blu-ray that's even in the set and looked at the differences between them. The 4K on this is a very nice healthy improvement, and it earned a good 8.8 review score. If you're wanting to buy this and add this to your collection, I posted that link directly in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. Next up, we have one of my personal favorite Steve McQueen movies, Hell is for Heroes. And this film came out originally in 1962. And this is a great World War II movie. Steve McQueen's character in this I absolutely love. And it is one of those films that I was hoping we were going to get a 4K Ultra HD release. But we got it on Blu-ray, and I am thankful because it does look really good on this Blu-ray release. Now, it does say on this it's a brand new HD master from a 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negatives. So the thing of it is when I read that, I think, man, they could have released this on 4K, but I'm still thankful it was released on Blu-ray because Steve McQueen is like the epic, cool actor from the 60s that I've always loved. I love all of his films. And if you haven't checked out some of his previous films, you know, like I originally did the Great Escape 4K review from Kino Lorber. That's an outstanding 4K release that Kino Lorber released of the Great Escape. This is one of those that needs to be in your collection if you love classic war films. Steve McQueen's character in this is kind of more of a gruff loner that basically ends up trying to save his squad and trying to keep the Germans from attacking and different things that are going about with the battles and trying to survive. It's done great in this film. It is one of those that I extremely highly recommend if you have not checked out this film yet. You need to buy this and add this to your collection. You will not be disappointed. You will watch this thing and say, man, how have I not seen this film before? Next up, we have The Big Bus from 1976. This is one of those epic disaster spoof movies. And when I say spoof, it's about a massive 75-ton bus that's basically got 32 wheels or something, 36 wheels, whatever the case is, it's huge. That's basically nuclear powered and it's running across the US, and it's basically a spoof on like everything that can go wrong, and there's people on the bus that are trying to kill other people, and it's all done in a very goofball, lighthearted, comedic sense, so nothing in it is taken serious at all. The cast is massive. I mean, literally, I'm not even going to read through it, but the cast is absolutely ridiculous that's in this. Same cover artwork, no reversible cover artwork, and then inside is your Blu-ray disc, and it is Region A locked, and it is printed on this one where it says Region A locked. But again, the disc is Region A locked, so if you're wanting to import this, have to have a multi-region player to play this. Like I said, this is one of those that you just sit back and have a fun time watching it. You might enjoy this. Next up, we have Gary Cooper's 1959 They Came to Cordura. I love Gary Cooper as an actor. I always have and always will. This is one of those films that basically he's escorting 5 Medal of Honor recipients that are going to be basically put in prison for basically running from battle or whatever they're charged for that he doesn't know about. And he's escorting them across the desert, and Pancho Villa is involved, and there's a bunch of things going on. He starts to reveal and find out as things are happening, like some of the men try to attempt murder or try to escape or attack others. And he starts to learn what each of the men had done that they're going to be charged for or being charged for. And it's kind of one of those things, you're learning about the character of men from war. And it is one of those more, I'd probably say, psychological movies. You're learning what it is that pushes a man over the edge. You know, is it that, you know, hey, they won these Medal of Honor for in the line of duty and fighting, but then now something's happening and they've changed? Or was it really that they changed or that the circumstance changed them? And it's really one of those things that makes you think as you're watching through the film. It's very well done, and it is one of those classic films that I enjoy immensely. Now, it does have Rita Hayworth in it as well. It has this really nice slipcover artwork. I really like what Kino Lorber did for this release. And it is 123 minutes, so it's a longer film, but you won't notice it. It's just a really enjoyable film to sit back and watch. And this does look very good, though it does have some issues. I noticed still with some tearing, and there is some digital noise present in it. Not too heavy, but it seems to be from the scan and things that was done. There's just some film damage that it's always going to be present unless they spent millions of dollars to restore this, and I'm afraid it's just never going to happen. So this is the best it looks though, and it does look pretty darn good in this release. In this release, you don't get reversible artwork, but this is your Blu-ray disc, and it's 100% region free. So those of you that want to import or buy this disc I did test, it's 100% region free. So you can buy this through that link I've posted directly below. It'll ship anywhere worldwide. You'll be able to play this without any issues whatsoever because it is a region-free Blu-ray. If you appreciate and enjoy every single one of these videos I create here on my YouTube channel, make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club. It costs you less than a couple of bucks every single month, and that costs you less than the price of a cup of coffee. But that goes back into the creation of these videos. You see, I'm not sponsored and I'm not paid by anybody. The only way I can always continue to create every single one of these videos that you watch here is through you, my viewers and subscribers' support. As I said, this is not a high-paying job. It is very, very hard to make these videos, especially my comparison reviews, all these compilation videos. It takes me a ton of time to go in and exclusively test and review every single one of these titles. I really appreciate every single one of my Collectors VIP Club members. Without them, I couldn't continue to do this. So make sure if you enjoy this content, join my Collectors VIP Club. Support the creation of these videos. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. You need to support the creation of these videos so I can keep continuing to create these for many, many years to come. That link above will let you join the Collectors VIP Club. I just want to say thanks again to all of my current Collectors VIP Clubs. Every single one of you are truly amazing. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down and give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Another way to help support this channel just a tiny bit, every single one of these titles that you want to buy, always use those links I post in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. Those help to support this channel just a tiny bit. But it doesn't cost you ever a penny extra when you click on any of those links I post below. So make sure if you're wanting to buy any of these titles in any video I ever do, make sure to always come back to the channel and click through those links I've posted in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. I always love hearing from all of you. Make sure to start that conversation in the comment section below. Let me know what of these you're excited about. What of these you're thrilled I reviewed and dived into. Make sure to start that conversation in the comment section below. As always, I truly hope all of you have a blessed day. I've always got something new, early, exclusive, and exciting coming out very soon.